right, here we go. Sarah here. Welcome back to another episode of Your Fucking Welcome. Today, I want to share with you just 3 kind of random things that have occurred for me over the past couple of weeks, random conversations that just reminded me about some really important lessons when it comes to scaling your business, when it comes to your pricing, when it comes to your mindset. And again, they were all kind of inspired by things that have occurred for me or clients over the past couple of weeks. And they just all felt like little mini nuggets that I felt like I had to bring you and I had to talk to you about. And so the first thing is that I want for so many more of you to stop this game that you play with yourself, where you talk yourself into going to the next price point, when you talk yourself into raising your rate, when you would be perfectly happy with the lower rate. And that is not me sitting there saying to, lowball yourself, to be cheap, anything like that. But I was having a conversation with a client who has just made a really big life decision. She's made a really big life decision. And right now there feels like there's a lot of pressure on a good amount of money coming in. She's doing this scary thing. She's doing this thing that she's never done before. It feels foreign and uncomfortable. And she came up with this incredible offer. And she was good with the price, right? Let's just say it was $7,000. She was good with the price. And then she kind of got it into her head where she could go to 7,500. And she was like, we were having the conversation. She was telling me, she's like, I could work on this from an energetic perspective and I could get myself behind it. And I could do some mindset stuff. I could do some journaling. And I'm like, sure, you could do all of that. And I'm not saying that that's wrong. And I'm certainly not saying that you're not worth $7,500, but I also want you to open up your mind to the idea that you are in a high pressure moment, a moment where you really feel like it feels a little uncomfortable and it feels a little scary to kind of sustain yourself, to make this launch happen successfully. Why don't you just go with the easy number that you know that you feel perfectly confident in and not create any more drama for yourself? And she was like, oh, yeah. Like it was like a breath of fresh air to her. And I'm bringing that up because, again, I want to be so clear here. I am not sitting there saying that I want you to lowball yourself or not charge your worth, whatever the fuck that means, right? But go below what you feel like you're actually deserving of, right? Like I would never in a million years tell somebody to do that if they were going to feel resentful at the $7,000 price. But this client in particular, she was happy with the $7,000 price point. It would be a victory for her to sell 3 at the $7,000 price point. So why complicate it further? Right. And I don't know, it's this almost like self-sabotaging pattern that I think a lot of us have. We can't just let it be easy. We have to almost entertain how it could be more complicated. And then again, okay, then we've got to sit there and get our energy behind it and work on this and work on that. And one thing that I'm reminding clients of a lot lately is there's nothing, absolutely positively nothing wrong with you. For example, raising your rates and going to that next price point and stretching yourself, right? That's obviously a big part of what we all should be doing as we scale our businesses, especially when it comes to our time and our energy. And it's less, we have less of it to go around. And so of course it's, supply and demand. We've got to raise our prices in order to take care of ourselves, in order to be able to serve the people who want to work with us directly, right? Of course, the prices have to go up. While at the same time, I just want you to make sure that you are just recognizing the value and recognizing how cool it can actually be to simply get paid easily, right? But more than that, not putting yourself in a position where, let's say you are strapped for cash one month, or you have a lot of expenses going out, however you want to say that, but you're more stressed about money. To me, that's not the time that you then also make a scary decision about raising your prices where you're not as confident as you would have been at the lower price, right? This is just where, again, we just wind up getting ourselves all screwed up and all into the drama and more chaotic and more, again, dramatic than we ideally want to be. And I was thinking about it last week. I went to Miraval and I was thinking about it in the pool, and something just came to me just so clearly, a reminder: your business functions the best when it just feels so light and easy to you. It's not when a big production is made out of anything. It's not when you attempt to, create a longer container than ever before or pricing higher than it was before. When you just know, oh, this is simple. This is easy. This is a no-brainer. I'm just going to put this out there and I know it's going to work and I can assume it's going to happen. That's when everything flows really, really, really well for me. So I hope you're hearing me, that I want you as much as possible to not create more static and more resistance if and when you don't need to. And that is especially true when you are in a situation where it is a little bit more pressure, right? Again, this particular client that I'm referencing here, she's in a situation where she has just changed her entire life and it's scary. And so in that moment where there's so many emotions going on and so many, thoughts and limiting beliefs popping up every few minutes that she's going to have to work through, in my opinion, that is the last time, the last moment that we need to be making, again, jumps in income or jumps in pricing that feel scary and that feel like they require a bunch of mindset work. Do it at 7,000, do it at an intro rate, call it a day and move on to the next launch, right? Get your 3 sales for $7,000 easily and move on. I want more of you to really embrace that, like, things can be easy and it comes down to us letting it be easy instead of, again, automatically assuming that, oh, it couldn't be this easy. Let's make it harder, right? We make it so much harder on ourselves. And I want you to embrace that, especially when it comes to your pricing. The other thing that I want to say about pricing is, I mean, many of you know, I have always been an advocate, for years now of all the prices, all the people. And I have definitely not been somebody who has just been all about high ticket pricing, right? Like it feels really important to me to be able to serve the masses, whether that is for $15 or $15,000. Like I really do. I want more people to have access to my content. But I think I've gotten it in my head multiple times, and this isn't to blame anybody else because truthfully, I take the responsibility for it. But I've definitely had moments over the past few years where I'm like, oh, but like, am I not, I don't know, like treating myself as worthy as I actually am? Or is there something wrong with me that like, I don't want to only do high ticket, so on and so forth. And I want to be clear that those have been fleeting moments. Like they really haven't, they have been far and few between, but I have definitely, those moments where I hear other people talking about it, like, oh, well, high level women don't want $300 programs or things like that. I've definitely had moments where that has gotten in my head, even though I don't fundamentally agree. Again, I've had those temporary moments, right, where I can be a little bit impressionable and I can kind of forget what I've experienced and what I so fiercely believe. But a former client, well, I guess a client, she is somebody who I adore, who I appreciate, and who I've worked with many times in the past in both high level containers and also lower ticket programs. And she messaged me the other day, and long story short, without going into detail, her and her family have been going through a tough time and have been in a situation where they really haven't been comfortable like investing from a business perspective, right? Like they've been really trying to keep expenses as low as possible because there's some scary things and frustrating things happening. And she sent me this beautiful message just thanking me for having, for example, the You're Fucking Welcome Insiders community, something that is only $19 a month. And she has the ability to still get in there and, listen to my videos and ask questions on the lives, things like that. And she was just like, I just appreciate as I'm going through this hard time that like you haven't become not accessible to me. And like, I appreciate it so much. And I was just so grateful that message for me, not that it's about me, but it came through for me at the perfect time. Like I needed to hear that. I needed to be reminded how important it is to me to not say, I only, again, want to do high ticket coaching. Not that that's what I was going to do, but like, again, I lost sight for a moment of how important it is to me to be accessible at every level and accessible to everybody, no matter what they're going through, because I'm sure I've said this a million times, but I'm so in disagreement of this concept of unless somebody is spending 5 figures, they're not a high level person or high level client, or, lower level clients are always going to be the lower level people, however you want to say that. Is there truth to it in some ways? Sure, but it's not a rule, right? Like it's not a rule. And it has really been one of the most beautiful things of my business to be able to serve people at all different levels. I want to help the person who is getting their first sale, and I want to help the person who's making $1 million. I know I can help all of those people. And the only reason I would ever not serve people who are not willing to spend more money would be out of fear, like feeling like, okay, like I want to make more money and this is the only way. I desire to, again, help all the people at all the levels, not just because it feels fulfilling to me, but also, again, messages like that remind me how important it is with the work that I'm doing, that again, it's not just for people at certain price points, right? At certain levels. And so again, I just want to share that with you because I mean, again, I know I've said this many times before, but I'm just so fucking sick and tired of this conversation online that, it's only high ticket. It's the only way to make money. And, the nonsense around if somebody's not willing to spend 10K, they're not a high level woman. Fuck that. It's not true. Like I always say, I'm like, billionaires buy books. Like I'm pretty sure that that's the case. And so this concept that you have to do anything one way, if you want to do that, go for it. But the concept that you have to do anything one way in order to be successful, in order to make money, it's just so not true. And this is oversimplified. I feel like this is a blanket statement what I'm about to say, but my belief is that if you really care about the work that you're doing, I believe you will have lower ticket offers. And again, that's oversimplified, but what I mean by that and what I've always felt is that naturally, not everybody can have a ton of access to me. But if I can help somebody with, again, a $19 a month offer and they can get a little bit better at selling, or they can get a little bit, more confident about one thing that they learned from me, I feel like I'm doing good by that person, right? Maybe I don't transform them the way that I would transform somebody I'm working with one-on-one for a year, but it's still putting out good, right? Like I'm still doing a positive thing when it comes to that person and the way that I can influence and impact them, hopefully. And again, because I care about what I do, I want to, as an example, I want every woman entrepreneur to have a "you're fucking welcome" attitude when it comes to them selling. I want everybody to have that. I can't help everybody personally. And so, of course, I want to make my work and that message accessible to everybody. And that means at a lower price point. And that is, again, because I deeply care and because I so deeply believe in that message. And so I'll say it again, because I don't want to, I don't want to say something overly polarizing, because I know there are exceptions to that. And I don't want to suggest that if you don't have anything low end, you don't care about what you do. But I really do think it's worth remembering here that the more we care about our message, the more impact we want to make, the more important it is to us that it reaches more people and it does more good. And so again, to me, that aligns with the concept of the fact that like you can't have only high ticket stuff. Otherwise it doesn't work. It just simply doesn't work to get out there to the masses. And the final thing that I want to say, and I'm sure that I've said this before in different ways, but again, a recent experience kind of, brought it up again, and I wanted to reshare it for myself, reshare it for you, but on the same concept of only having high ticket stuff. A lot of people online will try to speak to the fact that, like, again, if somebody is not spending, $10,000, let's just say, right, that person is like not a high level woman, not a high level entrepreneur, so on and so forth, these things that we're fed and we're told. And let's just say that's true for a second. Let's pretend that I believe that for a second. If you only want to sell things at a 10, 20, whatever, $1,000 price point, that's fine. But what's really important here, in my belief, is that you are not setting yourself up for secure scalability unless you have other sources of income. If you own real estate, if you own a brick and mortar store, then maybe this isn't as valid for you. But if I'm talking about somebody like myself, and let's say I were to turn around and only take on, 10 clients that paid me $10,000 a month. Let's just say that's what I was doing. The fact of the matter is that we could have a situation where I get hit by a bus and I'm in a coma for 2 months. We could have a situation where people are unhappy and they decide that they don't want to work with me anymore. We could have a situation where three of them have situations and then they can't make their payments for 3 months in a row. Who knows? So I'm saying that I don't want to say this in a fear-based way, but it is more important to me than ever that you having lower end things is not just about being able to serve everybody at every level, but just as important, it's about making sure that you are set up securely and sustainably so that you don't have to put all of your eggs in one basket. Because I feel like there are situations that I have seen and have experienced where, let's say somebody has an emphasis on that high end container, and let's say it didn't work out as well as they wanted it to. And all of a sudden, people were sold the world, and then they weren't able to be delivered to because it wasn't enough money. And then they had to go on and like try to sell other people and other things. And then all of a sudden, the people that were sold into the high end offer weren't being delivered to because that person had to scatter because of their business model. That's a situation where, again, I'm using that as an example because you have to be able to bring in other income that make sure that you are set up and you are secure and you are okay, minus just one container, because things can happen. And that's not playing into scarcity or playing into fear or playing into lack. That's reality. The reality is something could happen. The reality is that having only that one source can be really scary and really complicated and can create a lot of issues for you. And so diversifying how you're making your money by having lower end offers that people can buy without your time, without your energy, is a really, 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 really smart move. And it's less about, again, that person having a $300 offer and maybe not getting the biggest impact that they could. It's about, we're going to give them the impact that they can afford at this moment. And also I'm going to impact passively so that I can actually do a good job with my higher end stuff, so that I can really treat my higher end clients the way that they deserve to be treated. That's always been my biggest thing, right? Like I need to be able to make enough money with my group programs, my other stuff, so that the people I take on at a higher level, I'm getting paid adequately for my time and my energy. And I'm only taking them on because I want to, not because I have to. It's an afterthought, or like it's a bonus, right? Instead of this thing where I have to get that one-on-one client, or I have to say yes to this mastermind client that I don't think is a good fit, right? The money comes in from, again, those more passive sources, the scaled offers. And then when I want to, when I choose to, I can do higher ticket stuff at a higher level, higher energy, all of that. But again, it's on my terms, with everything else still being very sustainable outside of that. Okay. And so I want to share with you those three things today. I am launching today. As I record this, it's Monday, so we launched today, but you'll be hearing this on Wednesday. I launched the Simplify and Scale Mastermind. And this is something that I've wanted to do for a while. I played around with the idea of it. Declaration for me felt good, but I knew that it could feel better. I knew that it could feel more strategic. And so there are 10 spots available for this 90-day mastermind, where you have weekly group calls. They're hot seat coaching calls. You have a call with me per month, 60-minute one-on-one. I'm even doing things like a monthly offer audit. And this is really for the woman who is at 6 figures or above, who wants to just take it further, build her audience more, have bigger launches, be able to outsource more, be more supported, essentially go to that next level simply, right? Scale, but also being able to do it in a simple way. And so I'm super excited about it. This feels really right and really exciting to me. And so again, there are 10 spots only, sarah-dan.com for all the details as always. And I'll talk to you guys next episode. Bye.